Hello, everyone, and welcome to VR Verdict Podcast, episode 93. I am PJ.
I'm Wookie.
And we're here talking to two lovely people about the MetaMovie. We have Jason and Nicole.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Good to be here.
Everyone.
Yeah,
Glad to have you. Sorry for the late start.
no worries.
Quickly start. Your camera's in the floor. Where are we supposed to be looking?
Straight at the name is what I
Straight
found.
at the
works.
name. Okay.
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 That's a good focal point.
Hey, guys.
We have the lovely Regina in the audience. How's it going?
Hey.
Hey, Regina.
You can come on up. You won't block the camera thing. You won't be shy.
Thanks, Aaron.
Just come right up to the rail.
Yeah.
Mosh pit.
So we're here to talk about the MetaMovie, your guys' project, and well, I'll let you describe it because I won't do it justice. But
Oh, boy. It's always so tough, man. I'm going to put Nicole on the spot. Nicole,
Oh, no.
you tell the viewers what the MetaMovie is all about. I'm always the one who has to do it.
Okay, so the MetaMovie is basically, I like to think of it as an interactive experience. It's not a video game, but it has aspects of a video game. It's not a theater show, but it has aspects of a theater show. It's not a film, but it's got aspects of film. And it's basically you as a hero and 15 of your friends or strangers go through this experience, and the actors kind of act as like sort of like dungeon masters in Dungeons and Dragons, where we lead you through the experience, but depending on what you say or do, and that's you, the hero, plus your iBot friends, your sidekick friends, depending on what you do and say, the story can change drastically. And basically, for video gamers, it's kind of like a video game where the NPCs are real people and actually react to what you say and do.
Like everyday
for
life.
Yeah, pretty much. And and if you're more of like an interactive theater person, it's where you, the audience, really have choices that you can make to change the story and do collaborative storytelling.
That's pretty good. That's really good.
That's a good
I always
pitch.
I always say that, like, when I was a kid, I went to go see Star Wars, and I'm old enough that when I say I went to go see Star Wars, I mean like the episode 4, I guess it was.
Hey, I'm right there with you.
And I remember being in that theater as like an 11-year-old kid, and I just so desperately wanted to be in that world. I wanted to be on the Millennium Falcon, shooting TIE fighters, getting high fives from Han Solo. And my background is as a filmmaker, and all my life I've just always tried to make films that are as immersive as possible, sucking audiences in and in and in. But you can only do so much in a 2D environment. So when VR technology started becoming available, recognize that as an opportunity to maybe possibly build a virtual world and tell a movie inside the world, and then bring audiences in, let them experience immersed in the story and actually being part of the story and being a character. So when you're a hero, you do a little bit of role playing. There's definitely a lot of D&D stuff going on in there. And even our sidekicks, who are these little tiny iBot avatars, they're small so that we can fit a bunch of them into the scene without kind of crowding things up. And they're muted. They don't get to talk, but they actually have quite a bit of agency as well. And so we bring these groups of audiences through. In fact, we don't even really think of it as audiences because everybody's role playing. So it's almost like we're all playing a game together. We're all in the movie together. We just all have our different character roles. So we've got our Wookiee, and we've got our Han, and we've got our Luke, and then everybody else plays their own part. We've been doing this for. I started this project in, I think, 2017. All of these, I've done 3 iterations of the MetaMovie. We've done 3 MetaMovies in the past 4 years, and everything is kind of based on research questions on some level. Like, this stuff is so new, and there's not a roadmap for doing it. So whenever we do a new one, it's based on like, all right, so what do we want to learn now? What do we want to test? What do we think we want to try out and experiment with? Because there are more questions than answers at this point. So. Yeah, and so Alien Rescue is the 3rd one, and we're really excited about it. We've been developing it for 2 years now in Neos VR, the social VR platform Neos VR, and we've been very blessed and lucky that the work has been well received by audiences. So we got to show it at the Venice Biennale last year as a work in progress. And we won a little award there, and that was pretty awesome. And now we are just about to do our world premiere at the Raindance Immersive Festival in 2 weeks. So
Awesome.
excited.
I got to participate in the MetaMovie, the last one here, not 3 weeks ago, and I was a little droid.
Awesome.
Yeah, the experience was kind of mind blowing. I like how you have a ticket system, and for listeners and Wookiee and whoever doesn't know what we're talking about, you have you can get a ticket to be the main character, and then you can get a ticket to be a sidekick, a little droid. And obviously, like with the main character, you guys, I think you do a little like coaching ahead of time and stuff, which I think is awesome because I was like, I did not know what to expect because I put myself in that role. I'm like, what would I do? I'm like, I would just sit there and mumble the whole time.
That's
But, like,
okay.
But like
And
you
it's our
said
job to kind of bring you out.
yeah, and you guys did really well. Kind of leading the main person along, but not only that, I was, like I said, I was one of the droids. And you can flash lights and interact, and you guys have parts for that, and it's neat. But I was like zooming around, and you're tiny, and the scale is great because like the main characters were like giants to us, and you guys would interact with us. Like I was buzzing one of you in the face, and you're like, you would start.
We love that
Um,
stuff.
Yeah, it was awesome. You did a great job. Can't think of the word, but just
We try to
rolling with
really
it.
recognize. I think we really try to recognize all of the sidekicks, the iBot character, because you can't talk. So we really go out of our way to try to make you feel team and
A lot of
Yeah, it
yes or
was-
no questions.
right, so that you can blink. Because for the audience that don't know, the little droid characters, they don't speak because we can't have 15 people talking at the same time. At least we don't think we can, because again, we're just experimenting. In fact, the next meta movie that we do, we're going to have 4 heroes instead of 1, because
Nice.
again, we're experimenting with what can be done and what works. But we know for pretty certain that 50 talking iBots would be kind of chaotic. So
Yeah.
we give you those little lights to flash, a red light and a green light and an orange light. And like Nicole said, these guys are really good at like asking you questions so that you can, what are some questions that you kind of ask the iBot sometimes?
I often ask them to scout ahead and see if they see any danger, let us know. Sometimes I'll just make a statement, like there's a little plant creature that they interact with, and I say, oh, that guy looks kind of like you. And a lot of times they'll start furiously blinking red because they're like, no, it doesn't look like me, So you either make these like kind of hard statements that they can either agree with or disagree with, or ask them to do something and then they can blink green to agree to do it, warn you. There's yellow light too, so caution, that kind of thing.
And you
But really,
guys
it
are
kind of depends on the moment.
you're really great at improv. Like I said, I was zooming around, and there was a point at the end I was like dashing between everyone's legs and doing figure eights, and you guys were like, "What's this guy doing?" Like, I mean, you did way better improv than that. That was my style of improv. But
Obnoxiousness.
yes. Again, for Wookie and Regina and those listening, Nicole, I don't know if you're the main character outside of the player character, but you're one of the player actors. Could you give us a little demonstration of your character, like the badass voice you used and some of the attitude? Pretty awesome.
So I basically play sort of this. She's tough. She's got this military background and stuff like that. And also, I don't necessarily think of her as the main character. I think of the other actors like we're all playing equal parts, but I am the commander of the mission, so it does give it a little bit more gravitas as far as leading a little bit. So let's see.
You got to just do your monologue.
Listen up. I'm only going over this once, so pay attention. That building is the Kelosite Research Facility. They claim they perform zoological research, but that's a cover story. It's a biological warfare lab. They're weaponizing creatures from all over the galaxy. Our contact tells us they have a Zabanager in captivity. There's only 7 left in the galaxy, and she's one of the 2 remaining females. Zabanager blood is highly toxic, and these psychopaths have atomized it into a gas so deadly that even a few micrograms released into the atmosphere will kill every living thing for 1,000 clicks. I'm told they have enough to wipe out planets. with an S. So we're gonna break in and rescue her, and Baxter, our explosive weapons expert, blew a hole here for us to get inside, even though it was supposed to be smaller and quieter.
Wow.
Bravo, bravo.
That's awesome.
I love that
Thanks.
monologue.
I'm
I mean,
clicking my
I-
controllers together.
Yeah, you
right,
can kind of
right,
do that, right?
I
Thanks.
assumed you had the dialogue memorized, but holy crap.
Yeah,
people-
well, that one's been there for a while.
Yeah, a lot of people think that the entire show runs about 75 minutes, maybe 60 minutes if we're blazing through it, but that rarely happens. It's usually between 75 and maybe sometimes even 90 minutes. Hero, because of course the hero has complete agency to do or say whatever they want, and so that can speed up or slow down things depending. So a lot of people think that like the whole show is completely improvised, but that's absolutely the completely opposite. The script itself is about 55 pages. It's written in a very traditional cinematic screenplay format. And the actors not only have memorized the entire script, but we do branching storylines like a choose your own adventure. Our mission is to give the hero character as much agency as possible, not just to do or say whatever you want and we'll kind of riff with you and improv with you, but we really want to give the hero the opportunity to make choices like you would in a choose your own adventure or in a video game or in a Dungeons and Dragons session. And then those choices need to have real consequences. That means that the story needs to be able to be different. It can't just be one story. So our story actually has multiple endings to it, multiple branches to it, and beyond even multiple branches, it's also got like little side stories here and there. And all of this stuff is probably amounts to like another 50-page script on top of the normal script. It's all the options. All the options have to be. And these guys have done that. They've memorized the base script, all the options, and then depending on what the hero does in the moment live, they can move out of the scripted script into just a complete improv moment that's just kind of fun and just whatever kind of, and then get back into the script. Or if the hero character is doing a trigger moment, something that we've rehearsed and planned for, they will all just move from script A over to script B, or we have an appendix actually that we work with. It's really complicated. Wow. It's just crazily complicated. And I don't know how they've pulled it off, but I feel very, very lucky that a set of actors are doing or performing at a level that honestly is just not really done. Like even immersive theater, and it just I have not seen this type of work done before. And and I'm just so proud of all these guys for doing it. I'm just I like, I play some of the non-speaking roles in the show, so monsters and critters and stuff like that. So I don't have too much to do during the show, so I get to watch them, and it's just amazing to watch these guys like roll with all the craziness. And we've had some crazy. I mean, not sometimes people play it kind of safe and it's pretty predictable and easy, and other times people come in and they're like, oh, so I can really do and say anything I want, and we're like, yeah, and they're like, are you sure? And we're like, yeah. And then they test us, and then we get to really see like, okay, are we up for it? And
Nice.
say 9 times out of 10 we do pretty good. Every once in a while we fumble, but it's
like I said, I went into it with an open mind. Wookie and I saw, I think you were at least one of the VR chat like theater stories.
We did the Krampus play thing.
Yeah, Krampus.
oh yeah, we know those guys. Yeah, those are cool.
And yeah, it
Those
was
guys.
good. And I saw a couple other ones in VR chat, and it was like, yeah, it was great. But like, with the amount of stuff you guys had going on, I was just like, holy crap! And you could kind of see where like the main character branched off, and you guys had a couple like opportunities for him to like choose a path or make a joke. And I think the joke was on the fly because it was a good joke. It was funny, and I was kind of shocked. I'm like, damn, that guy's pretty good.
That's always a great moment. So we have we instead of doing like traditional kind of puzzles or little things to solve in a story, because it's live interactive, we've chosen to make the puzzles more oral, more talking. So you don't have to like figure out like a Half-Life Alyx. You don't have to do a little thing to open the next door. You have to talk to somebody and like engage with another actor. So we have this this security system, this AI security system, who kind of says, I'll open this next door for you if you can tell me a joke. And the idea here is that we as storytellers, we want to give the hero this opportunity to, like, well, if you can think of a joke on the fly, you can get the door open. And that's not easy. Like, if I was the hero, I would choke. In fact, I've played the hero a million times in rehearsal, and I still choke every time. I'm not good at memorizing jokes, any jokes. And so I'm always so excited to see, like, well, I wonder if the hero's going to, and what would you say, Nicole? 50% of the time they do, 50% of the time they don't?
Yeah, they do something. I would say more than 50% of the time, but I mean, we've been in the previews, so I think that some people have kind of thought, okay, I think they might know to expect that at this point, and so we've been having like a higher ratio of people telling jokes. But I'm kind of interested to see if somebody will come up with something when they don't know that it's going to be a joke. And now, of course, everybody's going to know that's going to be a joke because we're on this podcast.
We just leaked it here, right?
We just leaked it. Like, I'd be open to like getting like a story, or like they could try insulting the AI. They could try a whole bunch of things in that moment. And I'm not adverse to any. I mean, eventually we're going to get through the door somehow.
Sure.
So I'm kind of interested to see what people do as far as creative ways to get through the door that are not jokes. Like when they start turning our rules against us a little bit. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, right now I would say 60%, 70% maybe have a joke.
Figure it out.
I thought it was neat right at that same door you guys are talking about. There was a little backstory going on across the room because the rooms are huge. It's not just like these little hallways and stuff. You have quite a bit of space to play with, and I think two of the characters, you and one of the other characters, were like having a conversation, and one of them drugged the other guy off, and it's like, hey, come look at it. And there was some, I don't want to spoil anything, but there was a scenario where he was acting and they were pocketing things from this lab, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, we love that stuff. I mean, we're trying to give our audiences just a lot of different options, so that you'll never miss anything. No matter what happens, you're always guaranteed to get the story. But when characters branch off, and this is a pretty traditional thing that you see in immersive theater, where you follow character A or you follow character B, and then if you follow character B, you're not really getting character A over here. And I'm not really a super big fan of that if I feel like I'm not getting the whole story, because I get that FOMO. I don't want to miss out on stuff. But we really purposely try to make sure that no matter where you go, even if the room is quite big, and if Z and one of the other main characters goes this way, and the hero and another character go this way, no matter if you're a sidekick and a little droid, if you fly over here, you're not going to miss out on the whole story. You're only going to get extra context and extra lore and extra backstory. And it'll be interesting and it'll be cool. And maybe if you do it again, you can go and get this other backstory over here. But that backstory stuff is not mission critical to the overall story. You're never going to miss out on like the major plot points or the twists or the reveals or the climax. And that's all very consciously thought out. I wouldn't want somebody to only get half the story.
If I play like an open world game, I'm the guy that's just going to walk around and look at everything and going to ignore the story and all that stuff. How would I go about doing that if I was like looking at everything? And if there's two characters going over here having like a side story that the main character might not even notice, what happens if I just follow everybody around? Is that in the script, or would you guys have to improv around that? Because that's really interesting. Because I would be, like, ooh, look at those pipes on the ceiling or something like that.
So are you talking about as like the hero character? Like if you just kind of chose to ignore stuff and just kind of look and explore,
or just like took my time,
like that?
I would try to be, like, yeah, that's great, but I'm going to look at this for a second, like that kind of thing. Like, are you set up to do?
We actually have an award for that nobody's gotten yet. So it is okay. We honestly, like, my strategy for if a hero is not engaging and just wants to explore and do stuff, we kind of like try to move things along a bit. But I mean, I try to focus then more on the iBots, and then the iBots take more of a role, and then maybe we do more improv among the cast as opposed to really putting the pressure on. Because if the person's giving a sense that, oh, they want to look over here, they want to look over there, they want to try to find the Easter eggs, they want to do this. I mean, that's a valid style of play, so we have to support it, you know.
But
As
if
an
you're
actor, it's a little less satisfying, but you know,
right, but that epic like intro speech you gave, what if you're like, we got to go save that? I forgot the name of the animal.
Savanager.
Yeah, we got to go save that thing, and I'm like, yeah. But first, though, there's a coffee machine in the corner. I'll be right back, and then just ignore the rest of the.
Yeah,
So-
we were totally, yeah, we'll let you do that, but we are on a little bit of a time lock. Like we have a responsibility also to all the sidekicks.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
So we have to balance. It's a really fun game for us and a good challenge. But what we're trying to do is balance your experience as the hero. And the hero ticket is $50, and the sidekick ticket is $20. So the hero gets a lot of our attention, right? Like we want to make sure that you have a really, really good time. But we have 15 other audience members too that also need to be entertained. And if all you want to do is look at the coffee machine, they might not be that excited about that. So our challenge is always to find that balance, to like yes and you as much as we can. Entertain the sidekicks while you're off maybe exploring a little bit, and then I think generally do our best to like encourage you to come back into the fold and kind of keep moving.
Gently nudge me.
Right.
I thought that was really interesting. Like I said, I was the little bot, one of the little bots, and there's this one room where you kind of start meeting enemies, and I was zooming a little bit ahead and just checking things out, and I came upon, like I said, I was this small, and I came upon this huge monster, for lack of a better term. I'm like, oh crap, that's crazy. I'm leaving, and I went back to the group.
You know what? That's actually interesting because it's funny because were you talking about the slug monster? I don't care if we spoil a little bit because so you were able to get up into the slug monster kind of area where I was, because I was playing the slug monster and I'm kind of hanging out like almost backstage, kind of waiting to come on.
No, it was when we come into this really big room. It might be after that security door. I don't remember.
Okay.
But there's like a little pit with a body in it.
Yeah,
There's a big monster down there.
Yeah.
And you had to go down this hallway, and I was down in the hallway, and I went into the nest of the monster. I'm like,
oh yeah, that was me too. Yeah, that was fun. yeah. You discovered me. You discovered
I knew
me
it was
before the
someone
hero
because
did.
they were like moving around and stuff,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
that's awesome.
awesome.
yeah. So
Sounds fun.
Another question I had was, so you have a start time, and like you said, there's 15 plus people, and I never used Neos before that, and it was really neat. A lot of cool stuff. I've since been in there with shout out to Skiva, was giving me a tour.
Cool. Yeah, awesome.
Showing me a lot of his stuff and their podcast setup. But that's like controlled chaos because you have like 20 people in there that don't know what the hell they're doing, like I was. And you can tell you're passionate, and it's awesome because you're just like having fun, and even though you can tell like, all right, we got like 2 minutes, you guys get over here and get your suit on. Like, how fun is, like, how big of a challenge is that to get started? Because that's, like I said, chaos.
It is a huge challenge. I mean, first of all, we're dealing with VR, so like and there's so many different VR platforms. Every time you go into a new platform, even like coming in here, you've got to kind of situate yourself. Like, all right, so how do I move? What are my teleportation options? Is there a UI? Is there a menu? Is there settings? Are there, think about, everybody kind of is familiar with VR chat. So, but even when you go into VR chat for the first time, it's complicated. Like you still have to kind of figure it out. You need like a little mini tutorial. You need to get your bearings straight. Now, Neos is new. It's still in beta. It's not even a public release yet. And it's, it's emergent. So there's, almost all of our audience members have never been into Neos before. So onboarding them is a challenge. And Neos itself the UI is pretty complex. It's really, right now, Neos is really geared towards creators. I would say 80% of the users in Neos are content creators versus in VR chat, it's a lot more balanced where you've got a lot of just casual users. They're there to just hang out and enjoy the experience. Neos will be there in another year. But right now, when you're a casual user and you come into Neos, there's a lot. It's like learning Photoshop, you know. It's like there's a lot of things that are available for you to like do and press in your UI. So we spend a lot of time thinking about how best to onboard people, and we have a couple different things. We send out really detailed emails, PDFs with images that help you guide through the onboarding process, technical process. We have a little video that is available to our audiences that they can watch to kind of learn. We have a Discord, and we tell people, if you need help, you can ping us on Discord, and I will actually. I meet people in Neos sometimes on the day before the show. I make myself available just to say, look, I'll give you 15 minutes. Let me show you the 10 things that you need to get to Neos. We try to mitigate as much of that as we can before the day of the show, because teaching somebody how to use Neos 5 minutes before a show is really not ideal. We're starting to get that. We're starting to get that down, but there's always going to be the new user who doesn't look at the email or didn't get the email, and they need a last minute help, and we just roll with it. I mean, that's all you can do.
Don't even say new user, because I was that guy. I'm like, I never saw that email, and I'm like, oh, I suppose I should figure this out.
Right.
I'm like, but thankfully, I'm aside from the glitch we had this evening, I can normally figure it out. But I was like, I never saw that.
Yeah,
but you reached out right away. I was like impressed. I was like, damn.
Well, actually,
then I got in there.
It was you too. We were emailing back and forth, and it was our exchange that made me go back into Eventbrite and reprogramming our ticketing system so that you automatically now, thanks to you, our next users, when they buy a ticket from Eventbrite, they're going to get an Eventbrite email that will not go to their junk mail, because Eventbrite is better at doing that. And in that Eventbrite email, you'll get all the tech stuff too. So Eventbrite will send you all the tech stuff. Then MetaMovie will send you all the tech stuff, and then hopefully between that, you'll get it. We're still learning. I mean, onboarding a bunch of new users into a social VR platform is just a challenge, and we're still learning.
I'm glad my boneheadedness helped out.
It did actually. Really, I'm dead serious. Like, actually, our conversation made me go and like add another whole layer. So.
But to your credit, like, you replied right away, and you're like, hey, you're really helpful. And then I got in there, and I felt like a jerk, because there's like 15 other people in there walking around and talking. I'm like,
and they all knew what they were doing. You're like still pushing your buttons. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. It's social VR in 2021. We're all going to have to learn Horizons at some point, I guess, right? We're going whatever the next.
I have that, and I'm in no hurry. It's me.
Oh yeah, you've already been? I haven't checked it out yet.
Yeah, I was in the first since their beta launch, and I've been in there 3 times, and it's like, yeah, I'll wait till it's neat. So
what would you compare it to? Is it kind of like Hub something, or?
I haven't done a lot of those things. Wookie and I have done a few things in VR chat, but we're scared away. Like, that's why I was happy Skiva took a couple of us in, and we're going back in on our next roundtable chat. But just to give you a tour and show you the ropes, because like VR chat is like very much wild west. And Regina, I know you're a pro at VR chat, so
I wouldn't call myself a pro. I've just been event coordinating in there.
Yeah, but so we haven't played around a lot, so I can't really compare it to anything. But
okay,
we went to VR chat. I don't want to say somebody was humping my leg, but I wouldn't have been surprised if that was going on. I didn't know.
VR chat.
It was all on.
Oh, sorry, that was me. No.
That's okay.
All right.
No, we took a friend that was kind of newer to that kind of stuff, because I mean, Wookie and I have been online forever. Yeah. But she was like, we were in some room and there was kids everywhere saying weird stuff, and at the end she was like, I feel really depressed that kids are acting like that. She's like, I can't handle that. I can't go back in there.
Oh no, you must have gone into the pug.
Yeah, it was a bar.
Yeah, it was like a bar, and yeah, I was sitting there comparing it to, like, back in the Warcraft days when that first started. I was in, my girlfriend showed me this role-playing Goldshire Inn, and we walked in there, and there's like naked gnomes dancing and people serving drinks, and I was like, these people aren't kidding around. But it was still like, In VR, all your senses are engaged.
Yeah, it's a lot different. It's a lot different. Yeah, I agree.
Immersive
They'll get
isn't
there.
always good.
So you say this is like the third movie you guys have done?
Mhm.
Do you kind of do one every couple, like 2 years, or how do you have like a scale, or?
When
So the
Nicole,
first one was like that experiment. It was like a 10-minute long thing that was a very old mystery in New York that was in high fidelity. And it was basically just experimenting with it. It was one VIP, as we used to call him back, like one person going through it. So that was really, I think, you testing the waters. And then after that, we did the heist. It's not really a regular thing. It's really like a testing thing, as Jason was saying. Like, okay, here's what we want to figure out. This is what this show is for, and then move on to the next show. So the first two were in high fidelity, and then for this show, we moved over to Neos.
Nice.
yeah, it's just been a work in progress. When we started in 2017, there really wasn't, here in 2021, there is such thing as live theater in VR. It exists. In 2017, didn't really exist. Maybe one or two test cases around the world, but there's just no data. There's no roadmap. There's no information. So basically, if you wanted to explore what the storytelling technique was, your only option was to just try stuff. You could look at immersive theater. You could look at video games, you could look at D&D, and you could kind of intellectualize how these things might all be put together in a VR space. But you didn't. There was no literature on it. You couldn't go see somebody else's show and go like, oh, that's how you do it. Like you really had to kind of make it up as you went. So that's what we've been doing. Nicole was actually the first actor that I hired, air quotes hired.
Hired.
And yeah, I mean. And we worked on this first thing in high fidelity. This was a social VR app platform that doesn't exist anymore, but back in the day, it was really quite progressive and pretty cool. And so we spent, I would say, maybe less than a year on that one. I think I don't have it all completely memorized, but
That was less than 6 months. That
Okay,
was we basically, like, I remember getting hired at the end of January, like the very end, and then I think in that spring we did our show because it was short,
yeah,
and
it was really really short.
Yeah, trying to figure it out.
Very short, very simple. A little, one building, one street, and just like, all right, how does this stuff work? And then based on that, I went back and wrote a longer script, probably a 25, maybe it was a 20 page script or something like that. More ambitious and testing out new ideas, bigger cast, longer story, more agency. We worked on that for
A while.
maybe a year, maybe a
Year
little
plus.
yeah. And then at the end of that run, I think we finally started to like get in a little bit of a groove. Like, all right, we kind of know what we're doing. And right when we started to get into a little bit of groove, High Fidelity basically burned out all of its investment money. And so while we kind of metaverse hopped to try to figure out where we were going to go, we ended up in Neos. And then the writer that I was working with, Chris Insana, really great kind of Hollywood style screenwriter. He gave me the script for Alien Rescue, and I had just asked him, like I said, I want to do something. I gave him some parameters of what I was looking for, but he had a lot of freedom to write this. And he sent it over to me, and I read it, and I was just floored. I read this thing, and I was like, oh my God, this is a great story, and I think I know how to tell this thing. And at that point, it went from, I don't really want to do another sketch. I don't want to do another test. I want to do it. I want to do it right. I want to do it really. As it turns out, to do it really right took us 2 years. Like it was big. I mean, as you saw, this is a long show. We have 7 really big maps. Each individual layer on this map is pretty detailed and intricate. Every avatar is completely designed from scratch. All the programming is pretty intense. The weapon system and the fast mapping. You notice that like when you go from layer to layer, there's no transition time. That's something that really adds to immersion. Like you're in VR chat or in any other social VR platform, if you want to go from world A to world B, you're going to look at a wall of text that tells you like use your privacy buttons, and you should check out our new avatars. Like you can, I don't know if VR Chat's advertising on those menus anymore, or but we didn't want any of that. We wanted to find a way to keep things really seamless, and that took a lot of work. So, but yeah, it was, when I read that script, I just realized like, oh, this can be something really special. And so here we are 2 years later. It's been a lot of work, a lot of time, and frankly, a lot of money. But boy, it's completely worth it. We've got this show that just works. We're really, really happy with it.
Do you know how long you'll plan to like run the movie as is then, or
yeah, I do.
See what happens?
We'll run it. This is what I tell the cast all the time. We'll run it until people don't want to see it. Like the challenge for doing live theater in VR in 2021, especially PC VR, because Neos is not Quest compatible. It's only PC VR. So we're talking about a very small set of potential audiences. You know, do you do VR? Yes. Do you do PC VR? Yes. Are you by any chance interested in seeing some live theatrical style performance using your PC VR? Yes. Are you willing to pay a little bit of money? Yes. Okay. Are you willing to learn Neos, probably a platform that you've never been on before? So you can see that like the user base is really challengingly small, but it is what it is. That's where we are in 2021. So
also we do have that 2D version.
That's right.
So that's helpful as well.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need a headset to be an iBot, which is I think opens it up a lot.
It really does. And what and one of the things that we want to do is really spread that word that like if you're interested in something like this and you don't have VR, but you do have a PC, you don't even need a PC that is really robust to do Neos in desktop. It'll like a pretty standard PC, as long as it's got an integrated as long as it's got like a halfway decent graphics card. It can even be integrated. It doesn't have to be you can do that. You can do Alien Rescue in. We've had a bunch of people go through in desktop and tell us that it was kind of surprisingly immersive, even though they're using headphones and they're. But our goal, my personal goal, I really believe in this type of interactive storytelling. It's so fun. It's just a blast, and so I know that it will catch on eventually. I'm completely convinced that like this form of entertainment will become quite popular over time. And we see, if you guys read sci-fi, if you're up on sci-fi movies or literature, when these writers predict the metaverse, they also predict entertainment inside the metaverse. And this is what sci-fi writers write about. They write about these kind of immersive, interactive stories in this kind of fictional way. And just like the fictional metaverse is becoming true, these fictional interactive stories are also becoming true. And so for me, it's just a matter of time. I'm really trying to play the waiting game to some degree of like, let's just not rush things. It will happen when it happens. Let's kind of put our flag in the dirt and say the MetaMovie is here. We know what we're doing. We want to establish ourselves as a company that people recognize as being people who are doing really good work. So we'll run Alien Rescue until nobody shows up anymore, and then we've already got 3 other MetaMovies in development right now.
Nice.
So the next one, we've got another one that will probably roll out in probably a year. I mean, these things take a long time to together. You have to write them, you've got to build the world, you've got to rehearse them. So it's going to take it's definitely probably more than a year from now before we're actually performing this next one. But we've got other projects in the works, and I'm not going anywhere. I sold all my film gear. I'm not going back to 2D filmmaking anymore. This is just, there's too much potential in this new medium. So the MetaMovie will be here. We'll be here next year. We'll be here the year after that, and we'll be either running Alien Rescue or we'll be running a new project.
That's pretty crazy to hear that you're diving in, you're getting rid of everything else, and
I'm so hooked, guys. I mean, I've made a lot of 2D. I've made a lot of 2D films and TV shows, and I mean, come on. We're in the world. Like this, it doesn't give, I absolutely cannot imagine going back to making something flat. I like flat entertainment. I watch it all the time. I'm not spending my
Yeah. And we've had the same reaction with the podcast that, audio only was good, and then when we started doing this, it's way more interactive. Conversation tends to be better, and
totally even simple hand gestures. When I'm looking at Wookiee and I just see him like turn his head to look at you, or then turn his head to look at you, like that's a Nicole and I were just talking today about we use eye tracking in Neos, and that is, I mean, everybody on the cast and the crew all have eye tracking. And when we talk together, like Nicole and I were hanging out in Neos today, and we were talking, we had a moment when we just looked at each other, and she blinked, and maybe I blinked too, and then we just looked away again. And it was like a real human moment. And even though we're not quite sophisticated in here, we don't have the eye tracking, but I can see your face, I can see you've got your beard and your red hair, and you're looking here, and you're gesturing. I mean, audio is great, but come on, this is cool.
I was going to ask that because, again, like when I was zooming around as the robot, like the main actors were like looking at me. Like it was almost
you felt
creepy.
It, right?
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
Whoa, really looking at me. Yeah, we're working on, we have eye tracking, we have facial tracking, and we're just looking for whatever we can do to make those characters more real and emotional, more communicative.
So how many scripts can you memorize? Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, even if we published only the audio, it's still more fun to record in here because of all those things.
Right.
I don't remember who I did it against, but somebody was saying something once. I just got up off the table and smack them.
And that's if you're going to make the audio better too, right? Because you're going to have this more lively interaction. It feels more.
Feels like you're in the same room.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, go ahead about your.
I was just going to ask Nicole, like, how many scripts can you memorize if you're working on three different things?
As many as you want. I mean, like, I've done acting and different projects for most of my life at this point. And it was not common for me when I was doing more in real life stuff to be, rehearsing one show in the day and doing another show at night. And it's just like, whatever, I'll take it. as long as it's work, I'll take it, pretty much. So yeah, I can handle a lot of scripts, and I think that's kind of a common actor thing, though.
It's an amazing thing about an actor. I mean, these guys, that's a fundamental skill. Like either you can do it or you can't. And I'm always just blown away at like, oh wow, like these guys have this whole freaking show memorized. They have they have not just this show, but like I said, they have like all these different variants of the show memorized, and they know how to like stop the script and pivot into improv and improv. I was telling somebody the other day that, a given any scene in Alien Rescue runs, let's just say 5 minutes. Sometimes it's about right? So the scene runs 5 minutes, and maybe it's 3 to 4 pages of scripted material. And from to use like director actor lingo, we break down a 4 or 5 minute scene into beats. Each scene kind of has a beginning and a middle and an end, just like the whole movie does. And what's interesting and challenging about a project like this is that we might want to run a scene from beginning, middle to end like we normally do, but a hero can come in and really mess that up depending on where they go and what they do and how they behave. And so very often we have to run the scene end, beginning, middle, or we have to take those beats and actually move them around, and they all have to be covered or the story doesn't work. And the actors have just figured out a way to they don't just memorize the lines like it's rote, like learning your math tables. They know the story inside and out. They know each one of those beats inside out, so they can shuffle a scene around into multiple variants and still hit the dialogue. It's actually like kind of mind blowing that you guys could do this. I'm always absolutely blown away. And I will give, these guys have really spent a lot of time and a lot of effort working there. It's not just coincidence. It's not just magic. It's the work. It's just, week in and week out of just meeting and rehearsing and going over it. And it's really, it's awesome. Yeah.
I'm totally amazed because we do this weekly. I can barely remember what number it is half the time.
I can't. Before you joined,
93.
The thing is, I mean, we do this in
92.
our real lives, right? If you're going to the supermarket, for example, you know you've got a shopping list. And honestly, the shopping list does not really matter what order you get the stuff in. It's more convenient and more ergonomic to do it one way. But I mean, I kind of like think of scenes as like, okay, I've got to get this done, and this done, and things can just kind of shift around. And it's all right. You know, it's all right if it changes. I mean, that's the beauty of the live thing, the wild card of having a hero or two, or and the iBots. It's like you know, it's different. So you have to embrace it and make it just make it work. You know, in the moment, it's no big deal. Once you get practiced at it, I think. But oops. I just
That
flew away.
happens.
You just teleported. What?
I teleported. Ah,
That's the
I'll be
beauty of
back, I
the-
promise.
He's on the
Come on back.
wall.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, I hit
So-
something.
Just curious how, as an actor, actress, whatever you want to say, was this your first intro to VR, or how did you get into?
So the
the
first
movie?
shows that I've done in VR, all of them have been with Jason. It's all been part of the MetaMovie project, and so this is my third show in VR. But I mean, before that, I had done like Ren fairs, I'd done immersive theater, I'd done site-specific theater, I'd done film, I'd done, you know, all this different stuff that kind of like builds into it, and so it's only my I mean, how many shows have people done now in VR at this point? I mean, I doubt too many people have more than 4 or 5 shows under their belts in VR at this point.
Yeah, I
so-
would say, yeah, you're probably
Yeah.
in the very top percentage of live VR actors. I mean, there's really not many of us doing this type of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some
But
people
luckily-
do some shows that are like, you know, they're quicker turnaround than this, but it's been such a big project that, you know, and it's the best one. I'm biased though.
I've done 4 total, and it has been the most epic. The
Awesome.
next runner-up was Under Presents. I did a couple of those.
Those are
Mm.
great. Those are
Those
really
were-
awesome.
They're really amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was incredible. So,
I like the style.
you have any questions or anything, Regina, while you're...
Yeah, I
Hanging
have a
out?
couple questions. I heard, so you're running this in Neos. I do Saturdays in Neos with Beat Syndicate, so Beat Syndicate throws music
Oh,
events.
cool. Yeah.
I've
I
been
to
love those
those.
guys.
When-
Oh, yeah.
When you do your shows in Neos, are you allowing people to come in their own avatar? Do you have a pre-made avatar for them to use for it? Is the character a character that I have some bit of choice over in presentation? Or is this something where it's just like you assume the role of whatever the pre-made avatar character was and follow into this and kind of play as you would, but under the mind frame that you are this pre-made character?
Good question.
Should I take this or?
Here.
So the avatar, if you're playing the hero, the avatar has several different skins, but it's pretty androgynous, and then it has like a mask. So you can kind of choose like your color scheme that you want and stuff like that, and then what you bring into the character is entirely up to you. You choose your planet, you choose sort of your backstory, you can choose what kind of skills. You know, if you're not really sure, we can kind of during the show we kind of start to sense your personality a little bit and start to build a character off of that. But really, it's like you get a lot of choice, I think. The avatar is just this one avatar, but it really fits a lot of different kinds of things. I think that did Chris design that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did a really good job at like making like sort of this neutral avatar that then you can bring your personality and your own story to. And we'll play with it, whatever you want, whatever you want to do. If you want to be an engineer, if you want to be a rogue, if you want to, we'll work with it. So
That's awesome. I think that was my main question. You answered a lot of the other ones that I had coming up for it. And I do feel your pain with trying to bring people into a VR setting if they've never done it before. I
Right.
bring in DJs from the IRL rave scene that I'm part of in the East Coast. And so I have all my DJ friends want to come play the VR event. So we're throwing Aviance throws a VR event almost nightly in VR chat. And then Beat Syndicate is pretty much bi-weekly at this point for either Neos or VR chat and other things. I got 2 events coming up Friday and Sunday, so I've pulled in a bunch of DJs that have never been in VR before. Some of them are flat screen, some of them are trying to figure out how to use VR CDN to do the stream keys and be able to have the low latency hooked up for VR chat. So I feel that the engagement level is difficult, and Neos is a whole nother like jump to try to get people
Totally.
into, because of that. Especially the intro to start up into Neos is very tasking.
But the Beat Syndicate stuff in Neos, oh my gosh, it's incredible. I've gone like 3 or 4 times at this point, and it's just like, I mean, there's like, it's a virtual bong and music playing and mushrooms that you can like slam your face into. I'm like, this is what I want.
Were you there the
like-
other Saturday? One, gosh, I don't remember who it was, just like stuck their face onto the table and ate up all the mushrooms off the table.
I mean, that's what I do every time I go. But,
We're doing one this Saturday, so maybe I'll see you then too.
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really cool. I mean, yeah, for people out there, please go to Beat Syndicate. It's so much fun.
Yeah. And if you don't mind, Regina, if you want to say Sunday, we're going to have the
Yeah,
Man
Sunday's
of the
gonna be
Hour on
crazy.
the podcast next time. So
What's on Sunday? What are you guys doing?
So Sunday, I've got Julian Techmanju. He's blowing up right now on TikTok. He's a
JJ?
content VR streamer. I don't know what his nicknames he goes by.
Okay.
I've known him by Julian. Techmanju is his overarch like profile. We're throwing him a birthday party on Sunday in VR chat. And I booked one heck of a lineup for it, and it's
That's
in
awesome.
a really, really cool venue that I got whitelisted for. So we have like full security control over it. It's
That's
going to be a
awesome.
blast.
That's so cool.
yeah. And then he'll be on our podcast the following Thursday. So that'll be pretty neat.
Nice.
Yeah. I think
check
we'll
that
be
out.
streaming, so if you can't make it in, you'll definitely be able to see the stream or the VOD afterwards.
Nice.
But it should be a lot of fun. We have a lot of Rue from Beat Syndicate and Trash Tanuki,
Okay.
2 of the resident DJs, are going to be there. And then we've got Talk from Brazil opening, and then my friend Nard, who's actually like down the street from me, is one of the mid DJs as well. So it'll be pretty much electronic hip hop, like mixed for the night, is what Julian requested. And we have actually got his logo put into the venue. I had Grizdog, who's the venue creator for Club O, put Julian's logo right into the lighting so I can swap it and change things out and have it displayed on the wall for him to see when he's there.
That's so cool. It's going to be an epic birthday party.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Looking forward to it.
I just love all this. I mean, I think live, like for me, the live events in social VR is what makes social VR special. Like this is a live event. You're doing a live event. Like we're doing live events. Like this to me, we were talking today about like people being the killer app. Like it's the social aspect of being together in these virtual spaces that is what drives the magic of the metaverse. And we're all here kind of building it from scratch, and it's just a really exciting time.
Yeah, there's.
And-
Oh, go ahead.
I would say for listeners that haven't tried the app like big screen, watching a movie in real life is usually the 10% of the time when you get a good audience in the movie theater is like the best time you'll ever have. Like everybody's laughing at the right time, nobody's
Totally.
throwing stuff at you,
Right.
or talking during the movie, and then you go watch it in big screen in VR, and you're throwing like popcorn at the screen, and it's like as big as you want it to be. It's like
Right.
it's a mind blowing experience. So now I don't even know you guys had like up to the level you guys. What I'm hearing is like if you can be part of the movie and just be like, well, I feel like playing a character today, and you do a weird voice as the hero or something like that. I can only imagine that's like 2 levels above going from a regular movie into a big screen regular movie into being in the movie. Sounds just kind of, I don't know what the words would be. Dope. That sounds so fucking cool.
It's fun. I'm telling you, man. It's really, really fun.
And to that
And going
point,
to
like,
raves.
yeah, this will be my first rave Sunday. I haven't told you about it, Wookiees, but we were
I'm
invited.
clueless.
But there's, I don't know if you guys were in the spatial ape today for their trade show. Awesome conversations, amazing people. You guys, after the movie, I was really shocked. You have an after party, and I stuck around for like 45 minutes. I don't know how
Awesome.
long you guys stuck around,
Yeah.
but
Oh, we were there. Yeah.
that was almost just as good as the movie. Don't take that wrong, but
No,
guys were
I
just
felt the same
talking
way.
and-
I felt the same way. That so we usually end the show, and then we go to our little after party, our little after show lobby, which is like you've got like props and visual references from the show, and you're still connected to the show. And we do our awards ceremony. We give awards out for people who do good role play. We take some pictures, and we just kind of it's winding down from the show. And then we started not that long ago, really doing the after party. Mostly because we know this group of really talented Neos designers who are making these incredible worlds, and it's like just like our little after lobby is a very simple place. It's not super immersive or fancy. It's a cool place to hang out, but I just kept thinking like, wow, like have this crowd of people, and we're all just talking about the show, and just it's a social moment, and we just started thinking, well, what if we just go and do an after party in this amazing space? And that was really the first time when if you guys were with us, we went to the Vibes place with all the different levels and elevator and all that. That was really the first time that we really did that. And now, I mean, we're going to do that every single show. Like it's like, and we might always go to there, or we might find another place in Neos, another cool after party. But yeah, it was a really cool vibe to just keep the energy going for a little bit, as long as you had the stamina and weren't getting VR sick or wanted to hang around. And I'm kind of curious, PJ, like, did you like talk to other people? Did you like, not saying like make a friend, but like, did you have a social experience with other people after the show? Like,
so at the very first lobby, your lobby, you're giving out awards and stuff, and that was neat. And you guys were like giving out like blasters and things. And,
right, we're letting you shoot the guns and.
Yeah, I'd never been in Neos, and you're like, here, you can copy and paste that and keep it, and I still have all that stuff.
Awesome.
So that's really neat. But then at the next party, we went to the place you said, but we also went to this place. I don't know the name of it, but it was surrounded by. It was kind of like a fantasy thing, and it had like water around it. And
that was
I jumped.
Vibes HQ, I think, that had the lazy river around like a main tree. Yeah, that's Team Vibes is the team that built it, and it's HQ.
I jumped in the lazy river. I don't know if it was you or another person, but we were just both floating around the river, and then I couldn't get out, and I'm like, and then they helped me out. But you guys were like, again, I'd never been in Neos, and I didn't know how great the avatars were. Like, holy crap. And so people were sharing, and like for listeners and Wookiee, and maybe Regina, you've been in there, but the avatars, like you can like scale yourself. Like there's one of the free avatars is Godzilla, and you can just grow yourself to like 10 times the size of the map you're on, and it's nuts. Like there's
so fun, isn't it?
I was learning so much in that little time. I'm like, I went to sleep and I was just like seeing lights and things in my head, which normally doesn't happen to me. But yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, hey, come on back anytime, and Wookiee, come on back, and Regina, if you want to come to see a show sometime,
you're probably going to buy a ticket at some point. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I definitely I want to. I know I won't be good, but I want to try like the main hero thing one time and just see.
Well,
what
trust
I do.
me, because what you don't know because you weren't the hero. We definitely help the hero. We send them some information to help them with their role playing, and we give them a lot of tools so that when they come in, they're prepared. They're not. You won't be nervous because you'll already have been thinking a little bit about it.
We want to make you look good.
Yeah,
We want to make you feel good. We want to make you look good. I mean, you're the hero, so
I want to make you
that's
feel
our
like
job.
Han Solo.
Pretty much.
Totally. Yeah.
Or Luke.
You will
or
have a blast.
Darth Vader, depending on whatever.
Yeah, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the fun.
That's pretty crazy. Because I did hear some of that conversation where I don't remember the gentleman's name that was the hero of the one I was part of, but they were talking about like, yeah, they sent me some stuff and did some lines and stuff. I'm like, that is awesome.
Yeah, we want to make people. I mean, because not everybody is really used to really role playing. Like that's not something that you do every day. Even if you're a gamer or even if you're a D&D person, like there's you get a little nervous when like all of a sudden like, oh wait, I really have to do this and everybody's looking at me.
Yeah.
So we want to mitigate all of that. That little bit of we want a little bit of nervousness, but we don't want you to feel anxious. We want you to be excited. So we give you some stuff to kind of help you. And then you saw like the actors, the cast, like they have so much positive energy. Whatever you do, you're going to get praise for, and we're going to just make you feel super comfortable. all of the heroes that come through tell us like oh my god, that was awesome, and we had so much fun. And so,
Unless
yeah,
you're like that
absolutely
one
appreciate
guy that said that he wore the mask because he had space herpes, and then we all just kind of backed away. It was like- so then we might rag on you a little bit.
That
but,
was
you know.
that was the movie I was in, and that
Okay,
was
so
freaking
space herpes
hilarious.
guy.
Oh, you were that one. Oh, that was a really
Yeah.
good one because he had the whole story at the end. That was like and what's fun about this is that some heroes play it pretty mellow. I think if I was going through it personally, I would probably play pretty mellow. Like I would kind of hang back a little bit. I would be quirky maybe, but I would probably be a little bit shy.
You wouldn't have space herpes?
I know I would not have space.
That's going to go
herpes,
down in the books.
totally. And but
Put
this guy
space on
also
the
like
front.
this person crafted this whole backstory of their character, really deep backstory. And right at the end, in the final scene, when everything's coming together, he like had this moment where it was like he told his backstory, and it revealed all of this stuff about him, and it cleared up the whole space herpes thing. Says he revealed that was a cover story, and this is what really happened, and it was quite moving. Actually, I was like, I was standing there thinking like, oh my god, this guy like really thought about this heavily. And I think we gave him like the character building award because he crafted that. Like I said, we really try to encourage all of our audiences to stay in character. We really want you guys to really try to suspend your disbelief and just kind of go for it, and and forget about the fact that this is a game or a VR experience. Just kind of try to just buy into the whole thing, because that's when you have the most fun. So we have these awards that we give out to really remind people like, hey, you did a good job. I think we gave him like the
Yeah, it was the character building.
I'll help you
that
write
was
yours,
pretty
PJ, when you're the hero, and we'll make you like Mr. Bean in space.
That'd be awesome.
Well, what's really cool too is that what we really encourage too is like if PJ is going to go through, well then Wookie and Regina, you got to go with him and like be his sidekicks, be those little droid characters,
We'll do it,
because
yeah.
now you've got some people who are like your peeps are there with you, and like it makes it just so much more fun, I think.
Yeah, because again, just as that little droid, just watching the actors and the main actor or the main character guy was just like, some moments I just stopped and just watched like it was a movie, and then I started zooming around. Like it's a
Awesome.
pretty epic experience. Pretty neat.
Awesome. Thank you.
And you guys are clearly passionate. I mean, the after party, the before working with the guy, all that stuff you've mentioned, that's a lot of time invested.
We're just having
That
fun.
specific hero, like he messaged on Discord, basically like clearing some stuff, like making sure that it was okay. And I was like, you can do what you want, but he was like, what if I do this? And so like, if you are a hero and you want to like talk to some of the cast ahead of time, yeah, we can do that on Discord a little bit. But if you want to just walk in and wing it, we can do that too.
It's awesome. Birthday's coming up, Wookie.
I see a birthday present in your future.
What's that?
So my
Birthday
birthday's
present.
coming up. It's really not, but
Six
Christmas.
months away.
awesome.
Understood. I just bought
You
his
guys,
birthday.
and this comes from, I put myself in other people's shoes when I can. So as the main character, like I think I would just be silly. Do you have any funny blooper stories or anything like that from?
So many. I mean, that's the crazy thing is that when you tell somebody you can do or say anything you want, sometimes they actually do. I mean, we've been doing this for so long now that I don't know how many interactive MetaMovie shows we've done over the years, over 100 probably. So we've had 100, probably had maybe, I don't know. I don't really know, but
My favorite was still when Tiffany on the previous show, The Heist, turned into a slug, and like she couldn't figure out how she turned into a slug, and then she couldn't figure out how to get herself out of being a slug. So all of a sudden, we're in this diner scene in like this very kind of, it's a gritty kind. We're trying for like a gritty noir kind of thing, and all of a sudden there's a slug, like a giant slug, and it's like, what? I think that was my favorite of all time. It was just, where did this slug come from?
Because anything can happen, right? You push like in VR, you push the wrong button and you switch an avatar and you go from like humanoid to an octopus. But we're in the middle of a live show and we kind of have to like stay in character. We can't really break character, so it's like, so you've got your slug outfit today. Okay, great. Yeah, we've had people come through and like try to troll us and try to like just be really weird and kind of break us. That generally speaking doesn't work because we can't really. It's not that easy to troll us. We've got other people who come in and just like, we try to keep things like kind of PG-13 a little bit. Like we tell people like, we're not really here to do like super edgy R-rated stuff, but every once in a while somebody will forget. And so we have somebody will tell like a really, really dirty joke. It's like, okay.
Which I enjoy, but then C has to be like, no.
I was going to ask that, like, because I've been in Dr. Crumb's. What are you doing up there?
Yeah,
School for
Adventure
Disobedient
Lab.
Pets. Yeah, they're great.
I love that show. Love that show.
We've helped beta test that, and I've done like 10 plus runs in there.
Oh, cool.
And the first couple of times was, I had to ask him, like, do you play off the character? Like, if I just say something, does that put you in a spot to where, like, okay, I can play around with these guys to where, there's no kids in here? Do you guys do that, or do you really try to keep it, like, PG-13, like you said, or do you just kind of go off the actor?
Lead him back, or?
I mean, we joked around about space herpes for a while, and that's kind of like the limit. I think somebody told the pussy joke from Predator once, and we just kind of, the joke was over, and then that was fine.
We're not going to get too hung up. I mean, I think, all we really truly care about is committing to your character. Like, if you're here to just fuck around and be like, like those kids that you encountered in VR chat sometimes, like, we're not interested in any of that. Like, if you're here to just be, a jerk, then, we'll take your $20 and we'll just click ban and you'll be done. But if you're committed to the character and you're really trying to do something that you believe in, and if it's funny and edgy, we're probably going to let slide. But what we're not really interested in like, we don't want a hero trying to like seduce another character and have a sex scene. Like, that's not really where we're at right now.
Yeah,
so
maybe falling in love with another character.
Yeah, totally.
It's like a flirty thing. That would be
flirting
okay.
Is
but
fine,
it's like,
but but if you're dropping a bunch of F-bombs over and over and over again, like, that's just not, it's not it's not where we are right now. I mean, I love a good F-bomb. Don't get me wrong. But just trying to think about really trying to take everybody's, we've got 16 people who have taken their time and have potentially, spent money on this thing. And we have a responsibility that they all have a really good time. And so now keep in mind, one of the fun elements of this project is that we are experimental. Like, our mission is very much experimental. And one of the things that we'll be doing once we launch is we're going to run one experimental show every month. In those experimental shows, kind of everything is on the table. So we're going to be trying out new game mechanics. We're going to be trying out new storylines. And it's very possible that we'll try out a scenario where we say, all right, this is an R-rated show, and let's have at it. So there's room for exploration. I think there's even room for like exploration of romance and kissing and sex and all that stuff, in the same way that a filmmaker would want to. We don't want to take that stuff off the table, but I guess we're trying to take it one step at a time because we're all still.
Yeah, that's good approach. I think that'd be.
That's like really more possible in Neos than anything too. Neos is a great platform for that.
Yes, it is. I've heard some really interesting things about after hours in Neos.
oh my.
I'm sure it's the same in VR chat too.
Yeah, it can
Protect
be.
my innocence.
Well, like, again, like, you guys, I love the passion. That's like why we talk to like indie devs mostly. Like, they're the most passionate. You guys are clearly passionate. It's awesome to see. It really lends itself to the project. And like, you guys just talking about it and seeing it on the screen and stuff. Like, I want to get back in there.
Yes, come back. We're finding that there's a small set of audiences who really are just dig it and they want to come back. We've got like now people who have seen the show 4, 5, 6 times, because the show is totally different every time. It's absolutely never the same show. So it's not like you're just coming back to watch the same movie again. You are going to see a completely different show every time. So by all means, you come back and you're going to see something different. I promise. So yeah, please come back.
That's cool. I know viewers and most people probably know the side of PJ that I know is he doesn't talk to people. Like he's a really quiet person, unless he really knows you, then you can't get him to shut up. But like just when we started the podcast, started talking to developers, like I thought I was more outgoing than PJ, and all of a sudden he's like Twitter man, and we haven't had a podcast where it's just the two of us for like a year now. It's like, where did you meet all these devs? And then folks like you guys, like,
Awesome.
how the heck? He's just talking, and when he talks like this about, there's very few moments. He's always excited to talk to our guests, but you can tell sometimes when he's like, I got to get back in there. That's saying something, like
Awesome.
there's
Well,
he
thank you.
plays all the games for the devs, but like he doesn't, sit there and play them all day on Saturday, I'm sure, like, a full weekend, and he doesn't really jump at the chance. So just by hearing him talk, I'm kind of like, there might be something to you guys.
Oh, that's great. Oh, thank you
in
so
on
much.
You see me start scooting across the table,
Well,
But,
Wookie and Richie, you guys in there, man. We'll let's make it happen.
Yeah, I
I
definitely
do-
want
it's
to check this
funny
out.
that Wookie says that because, like, Regina, I only met 2 days ago in VR bowling, and
Yep. How you doing?
just a
When
blast.
were you
and, like,
bowling?
Wednesday
Forever
night.
Bowl?
Oh,
Yeah.
it was last night. Yeah,
It was last night.
Yeah, time works funny in VR. I'm convinced. Yeah.
Does. True.
Yeah, so it is very, like, I remember, a lot of people that, like, in the real world or whatever, like, you do a podcast, like, you're quiet, like, but talk to fun people, then I get to have fun.
I'm actually quite shy and quiet in real life too. And the acting thing, like you it forces you to be an extrovert, but usually I'm the one in the corner, just kind of hanging out, watching people, seeing what they do. So yeah,
That's
rocking
why
on
when
quiet
you're
people.
asking me, yeah, really, you're like, hey, did you talk to anyone? I'm like, what did you hear? You're like,
Ooh.
What'd they say? Cool. Can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, with our late start and everything, I want to respect your time. But is there anything else you didn't get to talk about that maybe you wanted to bring up, or?
I don't know, not really. I
Any
mean, I would
last
just say
thoughts
if I'll just tell audiences, if you're interested in checking us out, please come see our website at themetamovie.com. We're about to run a bunch of shows for the Raindance Film Festival. And so we've got tons of tickets available. And then after Raindance, we're going to run one show a week for as long as we can. We're in Neos VR, but we also do a desktop show. So if you've got a PC and you want to check us out, you can do it that way. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for having us here. I just got a notification that my headset battery is low. So this is good.
Yeah, that's why we got to play that game.
We're wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for having us on. This has been a blast. And thank you for introducing us over here to Spatial Ape. This is a great platform.
Yeah, it is.
I will be back here next week for sure.
Yeah.
Thursdays are
If
usually pretty good for me.
if my day job allowed it, I'd be in here every Thursday.
Yeah.
I remember the first time we were in here, there was like 20 devs out there. We all ended up in this booth, and I felt kind of bad because they get their own booth and stuff. But we were just in here talking, and I'm like, hey.
Yeah. I'm
But yeah,
definitely
thanks
coming
again, you guys, for your time. And I
Thank
had
you.
a blast in the movie. I want to do it again, either
Mhm.
as the main character or the robot again.
back. Oh no, we got to get you in as a
Really?
hero. Come on, we'll make
man.
it.
We could even do a double hero, right, with them?
Yeah, that's
That'd be fun.
on our experimental show list is doing a double hero. So if you and Wookie wanted to come in as, are you guys actually brothers like for life or just like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh really? Oh,
And,
That would be great,
Yeah.
right?
that would be.
And then
that's
it'd be my family. You're my cousins. Yay.
Yeah. No, I really like that, you guys. Let's do.
Aw, it's so nice to
That's-
see you.
That's what one of the things I love about VR, because Wookie, like, I live in Wisconsin and he moved away like 20 plus years ago. So this is like he said, watching a movie in big screen. Like, it's
That's
hanging
so
out
nice.
because we're right
So-
here. I can't
that's
really
so
hit
nice.
him, but
Maybe that's for the best.
You keep zooming straight past Nicole.
do I?
Now you're over there in
Yeah.
the corner.
You're drifting.
When
Yeah.
you said I like to put myself in other people's shoes, you were putting yourself in the statue shoes back there.
Shoes. We don't have shoes. None of us have shoes.
I
No,
don't
the
have a
statue
belly
does.
button.
Oh no, it's
Oh, this,
Yeah, this
Yeah,
has been fun.
um,
It's good to
yeah.
hang out.
There'll be links in the show notes to the MetaMovie. Check it out. We'll be doing a couple other things. So anyone listening, watching, check the show notes. There'll be the live video of this. For those listening, there's a live video. We're live in VR, which I always forget to mention at the top. But I did remember the episode number, so I was doing good. But Nicole, Jason, Regina, thanks for joining us and hanging out.
Thank you, thank you,
It's
thank
Hey,
you.
anytime.
a lot of fun.
S- Definitely send me the links once you get the shows live. I'll send them out too.
Awesome.
All right, thanks
Sweet.
everybody for watching. Cool, thanks
you.
for coming on. It was fun to do that with you.
thanks.
All right, guys.
Nice to
Have a
meet you,
night.
Jason.
Yeah.
Hold the mushroom eater, leg humper, whatever.
Yeah.
it's called.
Yeah,
Good luck with-
I
Look
play
with,
many roles.
Birthday party, and I'll try to look for the Beat Syndicate.
Awesome.
Hi, guys.
Ciao.
Ciao. Ah, I fell down.
There's a point where it breaks down and you start to fall through the floor.
Yep. Got
All
it.
right, I am gonna log off. I have been working all day. I just wanted to pop in and watch something because I missed most of the other part of Spatial 8.
Well, thanks. I
But-
appreciate it.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you.
It's
I'll catch you
Sunday.
all later.
Bye.
Bye, Nicole.
I gotta figure out how to get out of this thing. This is like my second day on Quest, by the way, because I usually use my
Nice.
Vive. So I'm like, where do I exit? I do exiting things.
Yeah. Just take it off and
Yeah.
throw it.
I might. I mean, you know, it's like, no Quest. All right. Now I can't move. Okay, I'm gonna, yeah. There we go.